So in this video, my goal is to kind of show you guys from the time of purchase of the 2005 Jeep Wrangler to now. Um, in the end of this, it's going to be a full walk around of the Jeep in its current state and what I have done to it. But I do want to show you what it looked like when I bought it, what I call stage one, which is a year and a half to 2 years after I had bought it, and then the most current iteration of it on the computer. But then I will, like I said, do a full video walk around, and I'll do a video of it driving and just kind of show you overall the condition and the state that it's in now, and kind of touch on some future plans that I want to do with it. I am going to do this with the Cherokee I just bought, just for fun, just because it was a cheap, just little thing I want to do. And then maybe in the future I'll do it with my buddy's pretty built Cherokee, and then my other buddy's pretty built Wrangler. His is an '03, so it's pretty similar, but it's completely different than mine. So getting into this, this is when I bought it. Here's the listing. I'll let you guys go ahead and read over that, but yeah, obviously it tells you everything that it is, and that's what it looked like when I bought it. It sat on 33s on the stock wheels, 2-inch like Terraflex spacer lift. It was in rough condition when I bought it. I will say that. And when I bought it, the value of these hadn't gone up a whole lot. So I think at the time I paid a premium, but seeing how the market is now, I bought it on the lower end of that market. So I think unintentionally it was a good purchase. It was a good buy, regardless of the condition it was in. But I will go over some of the things that I looked for when I bought it, and what you guys could look for when you are in the market for a new Jeep. So what drew my attention was the wheels and tires, or was the tires that they had put on it. I didn't necessarily want that though. My goal is to buy a completely factory, untouched Wrangler, which this was in my area the closest one I could get to something like that. Other than the spacer lift and the tires, it was bone stock, completely bone stock, and so it kind of fit the bill. Obviously, full length bumper, just it's a stock Jeep. Top was ripped. Top was in bad shape, but that didn't bother me. It was just a negotiation factor that I could use to get it for the price that I wanted it for. You can see tape here, tape here. The windows were completely fogged over, and the reason for this was it was a Southern Jeep. It was a Florida Jeep. It sat in the sun. It cooked it. So there's a few things on the interior as well, like the steering wheel, the airbag steering wheel cover that had melted and kind of gone to crap, and then a little bit on the dash, but I was able to clean that up over time. But yeah, it's a Wrangler X. It's an '05, as you know. Dana 35 rear, 30 front, open differentials. Again, completely stock, other than wheels or other than tires. But yeah, so this is what it looked like. Again, not in the greatest shape, but it was something that I think I thought I could have fixed up, and you'll see in a little bit that I did. So here's the interior. Not much to see there. It still looks pretty much the same. Here, I did end up changing this out, and you'll see in some later clips coming up. And then I added a couple switches in the factory locations. I do like to keep things as factory as possible. So as you see here, when I brought it off the lot, it had 154,078 miles. And I will go ahead and jump to kind of like that, air quotes, stage one that I had it in. I knew a lot of this stuff wouldn't be permanent, but I like to wheel it, and I wanted to get something into something that I could wheel, and just in the state that it was in currently. So it obviously takes time to build, being that I'm not a rich person. I'm still in college. So anyway, as you can see, this radio is out of a Chrysler Sebring. It's the same thing that would have come in this Jeep. I don't believe I had the windows tinted at this point. I did. So yeah, I did window tint and a new top with the tinted windows, which made a huge difference. It was great. It was a great upgrade. Here, same tires, just different wheels, and I really did like these wheels, but I didn't like the fact that they were a fake bead lock. The Walker Evans wheels have a great reputation. I believe they're made by Ultra, and I do think that they have a good reputation, but they weren't my favorite. They were a little too flashy for me, being that they weren't functional bead locks, but I got them on a deal, and I think they looked decent at the time, and they kind of fit with the 33s and whatnot. So yeah, it sits high in the back, a little bit lower in the front, so it's got some rake, which I didn't like to begin with, but again, I fixed that in some later iterations of it. But I had put an Iron Rock off-road lift kit on it, so 3-inch springs in the rear, 4-inch springs in the front, I believe, and it still had this rake, so just their basic shocks. And I ended up sticking with their adjustable track bars front and rear, just to get a little bit more beef out of that. And I don't like the idea of having relocation brackets. But stock steering, replacement steering stabilizer, nothing special there. I did put a Smitty built winch on it, and you can see here it's a steel cable with an aluminum fairlead, which again is changed in some later iterations. But this is what the Jeep looked like a few years ago. Obviously my daily driver, so I drove it everywhere, and it was great. But again, just a basic Jeep. I got it how I wanted it for a while, until I could save up enough money to do some more stuff to it. I'll go ahead and show the dash here. So here is 167,574. So what? I'd have to do the quick math. 574. I don't know, a little over 10,000 miles. 13,000 miles ish I had put on it by then, so I'd say about a year and a half of ownership. Let's see. Go ahead and go back to. I'll go to. This is the most current iteration of what it is now. The first thing I'm going to show is the dash. So obviously I've fixed all the check engine lights. I have, kind of done some general maintenance to get it back to mostly factory spec. In this picture, it's pictured with 185 264. So obviously, about 2 years from the last stage, it was in air quotes again, stage 1. This is that stage 2 that I'm in now. And I'm going to go ahead and do a full walk around of how it looks now. But I do have some pictures to show. This is what it looks like. So obviously I had leveled it out, done some tweaking with the suspension to make it so it's a little bit better off-road and it rides a little better. But yeah, I think in this iteration it looks much better. I think here I had paint correction done and all that stuff, so I don't think the paint's gonna look as nearly as good as what it did in this picture ever again. But again, it's a Jeep and I wheel it, and I'm gonna go ahead and show some of those pictures. But yeah, here's the underneath. This is after I think 2 or 3 winters. There's no rust on it, and that's one of the reasons I had parked it this year. I want to preserve that value. I had had to undercoat it, or I undercoated it myself. I want to make it clear that I've done all the work myself, aside from the clutch, and that's a whole different debacle, which I had pulled the transmission out, or almost had the transmission out, and it unfortunately I stripped one of those bolts on top of the bell housing. The 6-speed was made by Mercedes, so they had the e-torques, and it was a nightmare to get out. So anyway, I brought it to shop and had them do a new clutch and throw-out bearing. They were OE parts, which the OE parts did not come out. They were cheap replacements, so I went ahead and made sure that was right. Obviously, it's clean. It's frame's never been painted. You can see here, it's the paint has worn off from just the tires slinging stuff off of there, but it's not rust. It's just like the primer underneath, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, this is pretty much what it looks like now, and here's a little more of the interior. It's clean. It's in good shape, and I'm happy with it the way it is. And I will go over some of the stuff I do want to do with it later in this video, but I think now I'm going to transition over to the walk around. So this is a continuation on the walk around of the Jeep. Obviously, I wanted to touch on a couple points that I had missed in the previous clips. It's pretty much all still the same, but I did want to show a couple things up close and in some actual video. In terms of axles, front differential is locked, the rear is not. It's Dan 35. The suspension, obviously, like I touched on, it is the Iron Rock Off-Road. I guess it's a 4-inch, a little over a 4-inch. It's 3-inch springs in the rear, and it's almost at a 4 3/4 inch in the front. But this is just what I wanted to show to get kind of a good view of it for you guys in its current state. It does. Here's the dash here. Obviously no check engine lights. It's 180. I can't really see it from where I'm at. 180 some thousand. But the interior is in great shape. I mean, like I showed on the pictures. But that's really it. It's clean inside and out, so it's pretty cool. And yeah, I suppose that if you guys have any questions or want to see some more, you can. But otherwise, I'm just gonna do a little bit of a walk around, and I'll shut up and just kind of show the Jeep. I also want to add in a couple driving clips just to show the drivability of it as of now. There are some things I do want to do in the future in terms of upgrades. What I really want to do is a rear locker. So a rear locker is going to allow me to go a few more places. Obviously, my buddy with the other Wrangler, he's got a True Track in the rear of his, so it's that helical limited slip, which I think works good, and he's got a Dana 35 and chromoly's, and he hasn't had much of an issue with it, and he does wheel. I mean, I've wheeled with him before. Otherwise, slip yoke eliminator is probably next up on the list. It's really just the basic stuff in terms of getting this kind of where I want it for the trails and for what I want to do with it, since it's not my daily driver anymore. I would like to upgrade the front shafts to chromoly, although I don't think it's going to help a whole lot, just because of the Sorry, I'm on a rough road here. I don't think it's gonna help a whole lot just because of the U-joints, and I go through a lot of U-joints. I think that's just due to the fact that I have that front locker up there, and it puts a lot of stress on those when I am locked and turning on a trail, since it's not a selectable locker. It's a Lock-Right lunchbox locker. But yeah, so drivability, it's great, and I just wanted to show you guys that before I put it away for the winter. Obviously, you can see it's getting cold out, and otherwise, yeah. So that's it. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'm gonna throw up a couple pictures of the Jeep and on some trails. I'm sure I have some video I can throw at the end of this as well from our last trip to Windrock. Hopefully, in the upcoming months, I can do just some general maintenance videos on this, getting it ready for next season, and also do a couple videos on the red Cherokee as well, because I think that's just a fun little project that I have. Yeah, it is my daily, but I do want to throw a 2-inch lift on it and just kind of see how well it does with stock tires on a trail. I just think it'd be interesting to see for everybody, including me. I'm really most interested in it, and I might as well document it while I do it, from start to finish. So again, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll throw up a few more clips of this Jeep on some trails.